Hello and welcome to second part of our Microsoft Certified Azure Developer Associate Ultimate course. Friends, we are starting with question number 14 in this part of our series. You are developing an e-commerce solution that uses a microservice architecture. You need to design a communication backplane for communicating transactional messages between various parts of the solution. Messages must be communicated in first in, first out order. What should you use? Your options are Azure Storage Queue, Azure Event Hub, Azure Service Bus, Azure Event Grid. Now friends, Azure Service Bus is designed for enterprise grade message broking between applications and services. It supports FIFO messaging via sessions or message ordering with queues or topics and provides transactional support, message deduplication, dead lettering, and advanced retry policies, making it the right choice. Next question. You are developing an ASP.NET Core website that can be used to manage photographs which are stored in Azure Blob Storage containers. Users of the website authenticate by using their Microsoft Entra ID credentials. You implement role-based access control role permissions on the container that store photographs. You assign users to RBAC roles. You need to configure the website's Entra ID application so that users' permission can be used with the Azure Blob containers. How should you configure the application? Now there are different settings that have been provided you in the list of options, which are client ID, profile, delegated, application, and user impersonation. Now friends, there are two APIs in question, which are Azure Storage and Microsoft Graph. You need to tell which permission and what type should you use to configure these APIs. Now friends, users need to access Azure Blob Storage containers with their own permissions as mentioned in the question statement. Therefore, the permission will be user impersonation as it allows the application to act on behalf of the user. And since RBAC roles are assigned to the user, the app must use delegated permission. Now the second part of the question is talking about Microsoft Graph API, and here also delegated permissions are required because the app is acting on behalf of a signed in user. Now friends, client ID is simply the unique identifier of an app registration in Microsoft Entra ID. Application represents the app itself. And profile scope is an OpenID Connect scope that allows an application to access basic information about the signed in user. Question number 16. You develop a gateway solution for a public facing news API. The news API backend is implemented as a RESTful service and uses an OpenAI specification. You need to ensure that you can access the news API by using an Azure API Management Service instance. Which Azure PowerShell command should you run? Now on your screen, there are 4 commands mentioned. And friends, you will need to make use of import AZ API management API to import an API from a file or URL. New AZ API management backend defines a backend service. New AZ API management is used to create a new APIM interface, and new AZ API management backend proxy creates a new backend proxy object. Next question. You are developing applications for a company. You plan to host the applications on Azure App Services. The company has the following requirements. Every 5 minutes, verify that the websites are responsive. Verify that the websites respond within a specified time threshold. Dependent requests such as images and JavaScript files must load properly. Generate alerts if a website is experiencing issues. If a website fails to load, the system must attempt to reload the site 3 more times. You need to implement this process with the least amount of effort. What should you do? Your options are create a Selenium web test and configure it to run from your workstation as a scheduled task. Set up a URL ping test to query the home page. Create an Azure function to query the home page. Create a multi-step web test to query the home page. Create a custom track availability test to query the home page. Now friends, URL ping test and multi-step web test are deprecated already, so you can rule them out. Azure function requires custom development and retry logic, which means more effort and we need to minimize the effort. So let's rule it out as well. Now Selenium test from workstation again requires manual setup and scheduling. So we will rule it out as well, leaving us with the correct option, which is option E, create a custom track availability test to query the home page. Now friends, you will need to use track availability in a custom availability test when the built-in test types do not meet advanced needs, which is what is happening here. Next question. You are developing an Azure service application that processes queue data when it receives a message from a mobile application. Messages may not be sent to the service consistently. You have the following requirements. Queue size must not grow larger than 80 gigabytes. Use first in, first out ordering of messages. Minimize Azure costs. You need to implement the messaging solution. And the solution you choose is use the .NET API to add a message to an Azure storage queue from the mobile application. Create an Azure VM that is triggered from the Azure storage queue events. Does this solution meet the goal? You need to tell whether this is right or wrong. And friends, this is an incorrect solution. You will need to use Azure Service Bus queue with sessions in this case. This ensures guaranteed FIFO ordering, message sessions to group ordered messages, and built-in retries and dead lettering. Next question. You're developing a solution that uses several Azure Service Bus queues. You create an Azure Event Grid subscription for the Azure Service Bus namespace. You use Azure functions as subscribers to process the messages. You need to emit events to Azure Event Grid from the queues. You must use the principle of least privilege and minimize costs. Which Azure Service Bus values should you use? And the first part of the question is talking about the tier. Your options are basic, standard, and premium. And friends, you will need to use premium tier of Azure Service Bus here, as that's the only tier which supports Event Grid integration. Premium tier also provides VNet integration, dedicated resources, and low latency required for emitting events to Event Grid. Now the next part of the question is talking about access control level. And your options are contributor, data receiver, data sender, and data owner. You will have to provide contributor access in this case. Data receiver is for receiving data or messages. Data owner role grants full access to data operations, and data sender allows to send events to Event Grid, which should do the job. However, here Service Bus itself is the publisher and Event Grid requires contributor on the Event Grid topic, so Service Bus can publish to it. Folks, if you are liking the content, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe the channel. Let's look at question number 20 of the series. You develop a REST API. You implement a user delegation SaaS token to communicate with Azure Blob Storage. The token is compromised. You need to revoke the token. What are two possible ways to achieve this goal? Your options are revoke the delegation key, delete the stored access policy, regenerate the account key, remove the role assignment of the security principal. Now friends, user delegation SaaS depends on a user delegation key which is valid for a limited time and is issued by Entra ID. You can revoke this delegation key which effectively invalidates the existing user delegation SaaS tokens. You can also revoke the token by removing the role assignments of the security principal. Folks, always remember both the user delegation key and RBAC role assignments are cached by Azure Storage. So there may be a delay between when you initiate the process of revocation and when an existing user delegation SaaS becomes invalid. There is a link on your screen. Go through the link to understand more about how you can revoke the user delegation SaaS. Question number 21. You are developing an application that applies a set of governance policies for internal and external services as well as for the applications. You develop a stateful ASP.NET Core 2.1 web application named Policy App and deploy it to an Azure App Service web app. The policy app reacts to events from Azure Event Grid and performs policy actions based on those events. You have the following requirements. Authentication events must be used to monitor users when they sign in and sign out. All authentication events must be processed by policy app. Sign-outs must be processed as fast as possible. What should you do? Your options are create a new Azure Event Grid subscription for all authentication events. Use the subscription to process sign-out events. Create a separate Azure Event Grid handler for sign-in and sign-out events. Create separate Azure Event Grid topics and subscriptions for sign-in and sign-out events. Add a subject prefix to sign out events, create an Azure Event Grid subscription, configure the subscription to use the subject begins with filter. Now friends, by adding a subject prefix to sign out events, you can filter them at the event grid subscription level using subject begins with. This means only sign out events are routed to a dedicated handler or endpoint, allowing your app to process them faster and separately from other events. This approach is scalable, efficient, and optimized for performance without duplicating unnecessary infrastructure. Next question. You're developing an online game that includes a feature that allows players to interact with other players on the same team within a certain distance. The calculation to determine the players in range occurs when players move and are cached in an Azure cache for Redis instance. The system should prioritize players based on how recently they have moved and should not prioritize players who have logged out of the game. You need to select an eviction policy. Which eviction policy should you use? Your options are all keys LRU, volatile LRU, all keys LFU, volatile TTL. Volatile LRU would be the best suited eviction policy in this case. Volatile only evicts keys that have a TTL set, which will work perfectly if we expire logged out players. And LRU evicts the least recently used items, for example, players who haven't moved recently. This ensures active players stay cached and logout or inactive players are eligible for eviction. Question number 23. You develop and deploy an Azure App Service API app to a Windows hosted deployment slot named development. You create additional deployment slots named testing and production. You enable auto swap on the production deployment slot. You need to ensure that scripts run and resources are available before a swap operation occurs. The solution you choose is disable auto swap, update the app with a method named status check to run the scripts, re-enable auto swap, and deploy the app to the production slot. Does this meet the goal? You need to tell whether this is right or wrong. Folks, this approach doesn't leverage the built-in warm-up mechanism, so it doesn't fulfill the requirement to ensure readiness before the swap. You should leave auto swap enabled, implement a status check or warm-up logic, and set the website swap warm-up ping path app setting to status check. Next question. A company uses an Azure blob storage for archiving. The company requires that data in the blob storage is only in the archive tier. You need to ensure data copied to the blob storage is moved to the archive tier. What should you do? Your options are use a put block list operation with a request header of XMS immutability policy mode. Create a lifecycle policy with an action of tier 2 archive and configure days after modification greater than for 0. Use a put blob operation with a request header for XMS immutability policy until date. Create a lifecycle policy with an action of tier 2 archive and configure a filter for blob index match. Now friends, you want to ensure that any data copied to Azure blob storage is immediately moved to the archive tier. This can be best accomplished using a lifecycle management policy, so you can rule out option A and option C straight away. We know the action needs to be tier 2 archive as the goal is to move everything to archive tier. You will need to configure days after modification greater than to 0, as this applies the action immediately after the blob is uploaded or modified. Now, lifecycle policy with blob index match filter targets specific blobs based on tags or index, but doesn't guarantee all blobs go to archive, which is why we have ruled it out. Question number 25 of the series. You have an Azure queue storage named Q1. You plan to develop code that will process messages in Q1. You need to implement a queue operation to set the visibility timeout value of individual messages in Q1. Which two operations can you use? Your options are peek at a message in the queue, delete a message in the queue, add a message to the queue, update a message in the queue, receive a message from the queue. And friends, the two correct operations that you can use here are receive and update a message. When you receive a message, you can specify the initial visibility timeout. You also get the pop receipt, which is required to later update or delete the message. This makes the message temporarily invisible while you process it. Now, after receiving the message, you can update its visibility timeout using the update message operation. This is useful if your processing is taking longer and you want to extend the invisibility period. Next question. A company has an Azure Cosmos DB for NoSQL account. The account is configured for session consistency. Data is written to a single Azure region and data can be read from three Azure regions. An application that will access the Azure Cosmos DB for NoSQL container data using an SDK has the following requirements. Reads from the application must return the most recent committed version of an item from any Azure region. The container items should not automatically be deleted. You need to implement the changes to the Azure Cosmos DB for NoSQL account. What should you do? The first part of the question is talking about reads must return the most recent committed version of an item. Your options are change the consistency level by using the SDK, change the default consistency level on the account, configure the integrated cache on the account, configure the account to write data to multiple Azure regions. Now friends, the default consistency level of the account is session, which guarantees read your writes within the same sessions. To read the most recent committed version from any region, you must use strong consistency at request level, which can be done using the SDK, even if the account default is session, making option A as the correct choice. Now, changing the default consistency level on the account affects all requests globally, which might increase latency. Configuring the integrated cache can serve stale data and not suitable for returning the latest committed version. Configuring the account to write data to multiple Azure regions is not needed to read the latest committed data. Now friends, the next part of the question is talking about items should not automatically be deleted. And your options are change the TTL property on items to 0, change the TTL property on items to -1, configure a resource lock on the account, configure a resource lock on the container. Now, time to live is used in Cosmos DB to automatically delete items after a specified time, and to prevent auto deletion, you must set TTL to -1. Setting TTL to 0 seconds means items are deleted immediately after insert, and configuring a resource lock on account or container prevents accidental deletion of the entire resource, not data within the container. So friends, that's all for this part of the series. I'll see you soon in further parts of our Azure Developer Associate Ultimate course. Make sure to subscribe the channel and hit that bell notification icon so you are notified on when further parts of the series are released.